Hello and welcome. So, I thought we would do a reading. Something's been kind of nudging me about divinity and the divine masculine, divine feminine, um, as far as the condition of the world right now. So, I really would like to do a what would I call this? Embracing your divinity or finding your divinity, or what you would need to work on in that sense. Using two different decks. I'm going to be using the Field Tarot, and I'm going to be using Vivid Journey, which is one of my go-tos. So let's pick a card, and we'll look at your divinity and what you can do to unlock your divinity. That's what we'll call it. Unlocking your divinity. So, we really need a balance of divine feminine and divine masculine in our lives. We need that balance. Otherwise, you end up too aggressive or too like a pushover. If you're like too far into the feminine, you can be taken advantage of. So Justice and the Six of Cups. Okay. So we have those pop out. So we are doing a pick a card, but I did want to show you those. Again, that very feminine aspect. I was talking about femininity and, maybe being a pushover, where you have a little bit moving from the docile little doe to a powerful woman there. So, as I was saying. And so we're going to do pick a card. There will be timestamps in the comments. I'll pin it to the comments. And you can skip around if you'd like. All right. Okay. Okay, and then we had two cards pop out while shuffling this deck. That's very interesting. The Sun and the Knight of Cups. There's your masculinity right there. The Sun is the masculine. And then we have our Knight of Cups here with that, masculine, swooping in rescuer type of energy. So, yeah, we don't need to be rescued. And we're going to look at how we can unlock our own ability to rescue ourselves, balance our divine masculine and divine feminine within us. So here we go. I've just heard two of each. There we go. So I will straighten these out and give you an opportunity to take a breath and focus in on which one will be calling to you. All right, go ahead and pause if you need to. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in there, and we will look at stack number 1 first. Well, would you look at that? All right, so we have the Empress here, and the reason I chose the Field Tarot for this reading is because I am so drawn to the Empress in this deck. It is just a whole different vibe. Normally the Empress is very like nurturing. She's usually expecting in the card, so it's about nurturing, birth, pregnancy, being fruitful and fertile and all of that. But with this deck, it's just a very protective, primal energy, a primal mothering energy, right? So yeah, like I'm super like excited that was the first card, but also not a whole lot surprised, because that's like the whole reason I chose that deck. All right, so I believe we are looking at your feminine here, that may need some work. Now, there may be a need to remove yourself from a situation in order to protect yourself, your loved ones. There is, I feel like there's an energy that you have invested in that it's time to move on from. You want to kind of take a step back. You want to kind of take a step back and refocus. So I feel like there's a situation of that you're just it's kind of like an uncomfortable, not a, like a uncomfortable in like a physical sense, just like maybe you get like a weird intuitive kind of instinctual something's not right here, but because it's something that you've already invested in, you're you don't want to leave that investment behind. You are, like, what is there's like a poker saying, I'm like pot committed. I used to play poker with friends a lot, and it's like, you've already put so much money into the pot that you kind of have to stay in, because you don't want to cut your losses, because there may be a chance that things will work out for you and you'll win the whole pot. I feel like that's kind of the situation that you maybe feel like you're in a situation where you've invested emotionally, you've like nurtured and kind of helped to form something, but you're still getting that feeling that it's just not going to form in the way that you had expected, and I'm a little afraid to leave it behind. And I feel like the energy of this protective empress is that you're going to have to leave that behind to protect yourself. They're, walking away, and she's even facing away from this 8 of Cups. Walking away is probably the most protective thing that you can do in this situation. Walking away is, I'm getting the word preserve, how you preserve something. But I feel like you would know what I mean by that. Dignity, I heard. So it may be the reason may have something to do with like pride. Okay, the words just keep popping up while I'm talking. So dignity and pride and preserving. Okay, so preserving your dignity and your pride is what you're trying to do here, and what you should be doing is protecting yourself. Now let's go to the other layer here of, again, taking a step back. What do I really want out of this situation? What do I want for myself? There may be a time period of loss where you feel a little like slighted by the universe in a way, but it's a decision I feel like that you have to make. So this for me feels like you've been in that feminine energy so long that you don't know how to take action to protect, preserve your dignity and preserve your pride, or that you've been trying to do so too hard in that feminine aspect of like trying to stay in the emotions, where it may be a time for you to pull out of that a little bit and pull in some of that assertiveness and taking action, being willing to take a risk. Um, I feel like it may be a risky venture, but I also feel like you have to take yourself out of your comfort zone. Is kind of what I'm getting here. Be uncomfortable with the prospect of something new. And sometimes the only way for that new thing to come in is to be uncomfortable, to sit with those feelings. But you've been in that trying to preserve your dignity and wanting to um, stay in a situation that is becoming more and more obvious to you that it's not what you thought it was, or what you were trying to create is not, it's not worth the time that you've already put into it. But because you've already put so much into it, you like have to see it through. And what the cards are saying is, no, you do not. You can embrace that masculine side. You can embrace the feeling the uncomfortableness and stepping into, out of your comfort zone, thinking outside of the box. I'm kind of getting to is stepping into an uncomfortable zone where I feel like I'm getting like that's where the magic happens. So I feel like you've been really in that feminine energy and really in the emotional aspects of like putting something together. Uh, but in order for you to see it completely, I heard healed. There may be a situation that you were trying to heal, and like maybe you were with a certain therapist or something, and you had put so much time into it. Whatever. That's a very specific thing. But there may be some healing involved that you were attempting to do by being in kind of almost an extreme state of femininity, almost to the point of like faking it, like faking the femininity when inside you, you have this, I don't even know what animal that is. Like, is it a snow leopard? Is it like a white, like lioness? But you have this inner lioness. We're gonna go with that. That is like ready to roar and get out and come out. And I feel like when you step into an uncomfortable state is where she shines. This is where you embrace the masculine side of your being, of yourself, and like, I'm not going to have fear. I have no fear of being, uncomfortable, or, losing some of my luxuries or losing anything. I, let go of that fear and, have the bravery and the assertion to take action, is where you're going to find that balance. Okay. You're going to have to let go of this emotional side just a little bit. You want to hold on to that. You don't want to let it go completely, but you don't want to be consumed by it. So again, that's stepping back and saying, what am I doing? What can I do to take action? What can I do to be more assertive? Not necessarily taking the action, because this is reversed, but assessing, what can I do? And am I willing to take the risk? And that masculine side is also the feminine inside you trying to roar, and will help clear that up, I believe, for you. But be aware that you have to be prepared to be uncomfortable, to be, less well off, or to lose something that you had placed value in. And I believe in balancing that, you'll see what truly has value for you, and where you should invest your time is something that, and your energy, that I believe you will see. But I do feel like this is definitely stepping out of your comfort zone and walking away from something, and into your own divine power, your own fine-tuned balance of nurturing femininity and assertive masculinity. And, just there's a transition period here where it may seem a little tough, but you have that power within you. She is ready to roar and balance that out for you. So that's what I see here. Let's move on to stack number 2. Stack number 2. Okay. We're going to do these in the same kind of structure here. Trying to make them straights for you so you could see them better. Well now. It's definitely, I feel like, a starting over for you. I feel like if you chose this stack, you are it's like scrap it and start over. This, interestingly enough, we have a Knight of Wands and the Queen of Wands, both fire energy, one female, one male, which, we are talking masculinity and femininity, but they're both reversed. So what's going on here, I feel like, is just like literally, like, I feel like maybe you've tried, you've gone this route, you've explored your inner masculine and your inner feminine, you've done that, and you've kind of come up unclear or short on what you're supposed to be doing. I may want to do like a separate reading for that, because really the main message that I'm getting is to just forget what you know, forget what you've already done, and start from the beginning. Because okay, so the Eight of Wands for me is it says movement. This is more of a manifestation kind of card for me. It just reminds me of the Abraham Hicks, their analogy for law of attraction is launching rockets of desire. And I really get that from almost every Eight of Wands card that I see. But we have these crystals on the tips as well, and it feels more like they're not launching, but they're coming in for you. So I feel like it's more of this really big starting over shift for you that it's coming. I don't feel like you necessarily are there yet. I feel like there's been an attempt that was maybe unsuccessful or just didn't kind of flow. It just didn't flow. Like maybe you stalled a bunch of times on the process and it just wasn't clicking, or it wasn't, it wasn't coming together quite right. And what I kind of getting here is that it's a time to start over. Not to be all like salesy and stuff, but perhaps shadow work is involved. I have a actually pretty popular shadow workbook on Amazon that is my Amazon bookstore is linked in the description on my link tree. So I would check that out if that's something that you're interested in utilizing to start over. But I kind of feel like it's starting a new process of working through something that you have already attempted when it in regards to your divine masculine versus your divine feminine. Maybe you were focusing on just one, and so because it wasn't balanced, it didn't quite work out. But I just see like an unsuccessful attempt and you need to start over. There may be an opportunity coming in for you to reassess or reprocess some things. But again, the movement is accurate. I do see forward movement here, but a previous stall out. And when it comes to attempting to balance probably masculine and feminine within you. And I also want to point out that it's not about what's going on around you. It is within. So, don't take my advice if it doesn't resonate. Don't take somebody else's advice. If it just feels off, don't trust it. And investigate it for yourself, because you really do need to do the work. Also wanting to point out, we have the Death card, which is a major arcana, and then the rest of these are all wands, which would be fire energy. So I feel like something that is like burning inside of you that needs to be let out. And I don't know if whatever you've attempted before may have started with like water energy, started with emotional stuff. But perhaps it may be time to look into actually physically taking action on something that you maybe, like starting in the action phase instead of the emotion phase. Maybe the structure doesn't work for you because everybody's different. Everybody learns different. Everybody heals different. The stages, like the stages of grief and all the, like you go through these stages, they can vary. They can be flip-flopped. It just depends on your history, your situation, what you're working through, what you're healing from, where you're headed. It's a different order for everyone. So if there is some kind of working that you've been doing that kind of focuses more on the emotion, maybe skip that chapter and find the passion and the fire energy, and maybe start with those activities if there is some type of program that you're working with. So sorry, that's what I've got for stack number 2. Let's move on to stack number 3. Stack number 3, perspective. Oh boy. Okay, these are upside down too. Okay, so, well, that's interesting. Definitely time for something to change. Definitely So we have perspective, which would also be the Hanged Man. I also see in this deck more of a reflection aspect of it, how it's reflected top and bottom. It's reflected side to side. We have like a sun and moon, which would be the divine masculine, divine feminine here, mirroring each other in this card. I really feel like you may already have some of that balance going on, but I would be prepared for you to be just like, something's gonna like rock you, something's gonna like come and rock your world. Like, maybe again, with that flipping it upside down, maybe there is something that will flip it upside down. Another thing I'd like to note in this deck, the Tower card, it doesn't look like the lightning is actually striking the tower. There's nobody jumping from the tower. There's no flames. This tower, I feel like, more represents a foundational change than an external, like, visible change. Like, there is something going on inside the tower or beneath the tower. This really feels more like a foundation shakeup. Okay, so something that I feel like maybe you're already kind of working on that balance. You're already getting that balance, but be careful, and be aware, more aware than careful, aware of things that may attempt to rock your foundation. Okay, so maybe a belief system or something that you have in place that could potentially be something revealed that reflects in a different way than what you're used to seeing. But I get reflection. I'm also getting that balance here with the masculine and feminine. So I do believe this is something that you're already close to mastering, but there's always something that may happen. Like if you feel too comfortable, you get too complacent and you're like, yeah, I'm already balanced. Something will come and test that. So this could be a test. Now, moving down to the other deck, we have the Three of Cups and the Page of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like this is not something that you are working on with the group. This is something that you maybe haven't even shared with others quite yet. Maybe you're kind of like still in the broom closet a little bit, or I feel like this is something that you either have been or should be tackling on your own. Because, a lot of times we have people in our lives that don't understand what this means, what we're working on, what shadow work is, what our divinity looks like. They don't understand, and, it makes people like us a little self-conscious to share things. And so if you share something that somebody is like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Are you feeling okay? Like that sounds like some like satanic stuff, or like they make you feel bad for working on yourself, and it kind of prevents you from doing that work. So I feel like if you haven't already, it may be a time to just kind of keep this to yourself, work on it through it yourself. And sometimes when you share your victories, you just be careful of who you're sharing them with. Sharing victories with the wrong audience can be life-changing, or can be something that you weren't expecting to have to deal with. Can result in other energies or other people, I feel like maybe like a ganging up on you kind of situation. So be careful of who you're sharing your workings or your path with. Just, I feel like now is a good time to be discreet about things that you're working on, but I feel like maybe you've already started working, you're starting to get that balance. But something may come along to change that. It could be other people, this Three of Cups gives me like Mean Girls vibes, but that just keep it away from the crowd, keep it away from the prying eye. I feel like there's possibly somebody that's looking for an opportunity to maybe slam you in some way or something. Just that's what I'm getting. I feel like you already maybe started working on that balance there, or you have recognized and acknowledged that there is something to be worked on, at least. I guess if you're watching this video, you have already done that. But anyways, so yeah, just be careful who you're sharing it with. Watch for opportunities to work on it. But I do feel like this is something foundational for you. So something subconscious, something possibly from childhood that needs to be worked through in order to be able to embrace both the masculine side and the feminine side. So if this resonated, please leave a comment. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. I don't know if anybody else has said that, but I'm going to use it until I find out otherwise. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.